The Batman Arkham franchise is packed full of content, but sometimes things get lost along the way. It can be as small as graphical features that were popular at the time but now are dated, to community-loved modes that got shut down. In this video, we will be exploring the forgotten features of Batman Arkham, and if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe. In 2012, work for an Arkham City multiplayer mode was in development named Arkham City Ganglands. This was pretty strange as Arkham City had already released a few months earlier, meaning that there may have been a plan to release a whole multiplayer mode as free DLC. Either Rocksteady didn't have time to finish it, or for some other reason, what progress was made was handed to Warner Bros. Montreal, who are currently in development of Batman Arkham Origins, their first proper Arkham title after working on the Wii U port of Arkham City. Arkham Origins released in October 2013 alongside its multiplayer. The multiplayer started off strong, with pretty high player counts, and it was pretty easy to get into matches. There were glitches and crashes reported, but fans were still pretty hyped with the new feature that was never in an Arkham game before. A big issue that the developers faced, though, that led to Arkham Origins multiplayer's decline was that the game was tied to last-gen consoles, the PS3 and the Xbox 360, so when the next-gen PlayStation and Xbox consoles released only a month later, I'm sure that left a big dent in the player base. In 2016, WB probably wanted to cut their losses on a 3-year-old game and officially retired the services, basically meaning that the game wouldn't receive any more updates. The online mode would no longer be playable on Xbox, but it would still be available on PlayStation 3 and PC. As of 2024, all servers were shut down, making the online mode unplayable. Arkham modders such as Kiwi Fruit Dev, Office Clown, and many more would step in to revive the multiplayer mode, making it playable, even adding cut content and rebalancing to OP gadgets and characters. Definitely worth trying if you have a PC, and if you want to find out when people are online, definitely check out the Arkham Workshop Discord, and they probably can also help troubleshoot any problems. During the 2000s and early 2010s, 3D movies were apparently the future of cinema. It definitely died down in recent times, but it was such a big thing at one point that developers were incorporating it into their games. Now, it wasn't present in the original Arkham Asylum, but it was added later on in the Game of the Year edition for Xbox, PlayStation and PC. It also came with Arkham City on launch, allowing anyone to give it a go. In the physical copy of Arkham Asylum, you would have been given 2 pairs of Arkham glasses. One of them is Batman themed and the other being Joker themed, which I personally own both of. I don't know about you, but I don't think I ever bothered with the 3D option for more than 10 minutes. If you want to play the 3D feature on PC, you needed an Nvidia graphics card in order to run it, so the amount of people that actually had the option of this was pretty slim. By 2013 and the release of Batman Arkham Origins was the end of the 3D feature due to the popularity of 3D peaking and then rapidly declining. It got worse as the Nvidia driver updates, the option for 3D was actually discontinued, meaning unless you installed a much older version of the drivers, then it would be impossible to play it on PC. Some may have hoped for the return to Arkham remasters to feature 3D as it was in the originals, but probably due to the lack of popularity, the developers decided not to include it. My thoughts that it wasn't really used or loved either. You probably needed to be a real 3D enthusiast to actually bother with it, and you also would need to take long breaks while playing, as it can be quite tough on the eyes and could lead to headaches. Maybe I'll give this a go in the future, but for now I understand why they stopped doing it. Let me know if this was something you would be interested in. Nvidia wanted one of the coolest features in PC gaming to be forgotten. PhysX leverages your GPU to calculate real-time particle physics. It powers the way that objects explode, crumble and ricochet, allowing for environments that are more realistically destructible and malleable. For Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham City, and Batman Arkham Origins, they had the 32-bit version of PhysX, which gave you the option of interactive smoke, tiles breaking on impact, and smaller things such as ice shards that would break off from Mr. Freeze's gun. These are obviously unnecessary as the game still functions without them, but it's still really cool to have this feature all the way back in 2009. But with Nvidia's release of the 50 series in January 2025 was the quiet shutdown of support for 32-bit CUDA, meaning physics calculations through the GPU was not possible anymore, which was a huge issue that Nvidia just hoped that no one would notice, as modern games are 64-bit, such as Batman Arkham Knight. The main issue though is that the 50 series cards did not support the 32-bit physics, which then would mean that it would need to be processed by the CPU, which would result in significantly poor performance, basically dropping 90% of your frame rate that you should really be getting. People were obviously mad, not just about the performance of Batman Arkham games, but also the performance of much older physics titles such as Mirror's Edge and Borderlands 2, which I'm sure people had such fond memories of playing, and the fact that these advanced computers would struggle against old titles, especially how expensive PC gaming has gotten, would be maddening to a lot of people. In December 2025, due to a lot of backlash, Nvidia reinstated 32-bit physics on the driver update 591.94, but only for specific games. Luckily, Arkham Asylum, City, and Origins were included in this update, so now physics is actually at a playable state, although it doesn't seem to be perfect. Pretty sneaky from Nvidia to quietly discontinue physics, but thankfully the backlash was at least enough to get it added into most games. During your playthrough of Batman Arkham Asylum, you probably noticed this link to a website, arkhamcare.com, being mentioned when saving the doctors.
When you or someone you know is seriously distressed, there are few institutions where they can be taken, and where you can be reassured that they are safe and undergoing the finest care available. An extensive breakdown of our costs and healthcare packages can be found at the front desk, or at www.arkhamcare.com/prices. We accept most major HMOs.
What could be standard world building is actually a real website that was filled with extra bits and pieces of lore that a lot of people just would have never known, such as the exclusive speech from Quincy Sharp.
This is Quincy Sharp, Warden of Arkham Asylum. When Amadeus Arkham transformed his ancestral mansion into this fine institution, few would have believed it could become the nation's premier psychiatric evaluation and rehabilitation center for the criminally insane. Situated on a small island in the Gotham Bay, our team of psychiatrists and medical experts will stop at nothing to ensure that you are cured and fully rehabilitated. Recent successes with Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face, and Arnold the Ventriloquist Wesker have put Arkham on the psychiatric map. But it is only the beginning. Our head of research, Dr. Young, continues her pioneering developments and within weeks promises cures for at least 5 so-called supervillains. On entering the Quincy Sharp Intensive Treatment Wing, you can be sure to receive the very best care as long as you are fully committed to our program of reform, rehabilitation, and round-the-clock medication. Unfortunately, the island cell block is full of failed patients who resisted treatment and are no longer viewed as candidates for release. Rehabilitated patients can enjoy afternoons in the famous Arkham Glass House, or perhaps supervised excursions in mansion grounds.
One of my favourite photos on this website is a photo of Arkham Asylum but during the daytime, which is really weird to see without that iconic green tint. We can also see a slideshow of apparent happy patients of the asylum, although this does look like stock images, and from what we've seen and heard, I don't think I'd like to be visiting the asylum anytime soon. If we go to the About page, we get a nice overview of how the asylum came to be. Arkham Asylum is one of Gotham City's oldest and most prominent establishments, dedicated to improving mental health since its inception in 1914 by Amadeus Arkham. Today, Arkham is proud to operate as a fully functional rehabilitation centre research facility, and mental health care center. Arkham also has a long and storied history of rehabilitating ultra-violent offenders within its maximum security confinement center, the equivalent of a supermax federal prison. Chief Administrator Quincy Sharp has expanded Arkham facilities to include improved recreation, greater security, and a variety of innovative new mental health treatments. If you or your loved ones is experiencing any symptoms of mental illness, contact Arkham today for a free consultation. We can help. It's really nice to get this viewpoint from Quincy, or whoever wrote this, who actually believes this to be helping people, and also the whole company speak to make them out to look like the good guys. It's funny to see from that perspective. On the next tab we can see seminars for Arkham Asylum, which in this page says Arkham Asylum's next seminar is scheduled for May 24th at 3 p.m. Renowned psychoanalyst and author Dr. Tiffany Crosby will host an event, and the topic will be criminal insanity in Gotham, dissecting the statistical anomaly. We hope to see you there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe Tiffany has ever been mentioned in Arkham Asylum, let alone DC Comics, so I'm interested to see what relevance she has in any of this. Maybe it's a reference to a Rocksteady staff member, or maybe whoever worked on the website. Now, for some reason, if you actually wanted to check yourself into this asylum, we can actually see how much it would cost you to get treated by going to the pricing tab. Starting at $3,500, this would get you shock therapy and a massage. The next tier is $4,500, which would give you a fancy padded cell, a cotton Arkham designer uniform, and comfy velvet restraints. The third tier is an extra $1,000, which would be $5,500 in total, which would give you the choice of picking the photos, videos, and audio to reprogram the mind of all patients. Lastly, you can get the complete package, which includes all tier perks for $12,150. So buying this package would save you $1,350, which even at that offer, I don't think I'd be too interested in. This probably wasn't what actually happened. I couldn't see anywhere in Arkham Asylum that sounds that good, and what I assume would be that it was to make families believe that they were doing the best for their relatives, not knowing that Arkham Asylum was not up to standard. There was also a login screen where if you figured out the employees' passwords, you could view some of their documents. Some of these documents were pretty funny safety protocols, and I'm surprised this didn't make it into the game at all. The first safety protocol is to never approach a high-risk patient alone with a woman who has broken out of her cell and looks to have killed the doctor. In the second safety protocol, they basically warn you not to talk to inmates that could potentially manipulate you into doing something you aren't supposed to. In the third is an inmate robbing lipstick from a staff member and stabbing someone in the eye with it, warning that without written consent from the warden, you should not bring anything apart from your work uniform and supplies provided to you. And lastly, to maintain distance from the patients with super strength, probably referring to Killer Croc or Bane, unless you want to risk being torn into pieces. Sadly, this website was taken down sometime in 2012, but luckily fans of the series had saved snapshots and uploaded ArkhamCare.com to the Internet Archive Wayback Machine, meaning you can still get a rough idea of what the website could have looked like, although it appears some of the website is broken, such as no design for the different tabs, and the login tab being completely unusable, with finding footage of it pretty hard to get. This is another thing that we have to thank preservationists for rescuing, but I'm surprised that Rocksteady didn't hold on to Arkham Care, or even just make it simple so that it redirects you to the Rocksteady website. That is some of the forgotten features of the Batman Arkham games, some so small that people have no interest in seeing again, to some big that are missed by large parts of the community. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below what feature you would love to have back. That's all for now. My name is Fo, and Salam.